My name is Stefan. I'm from Capgemini. I'm the head of software-defined vehicle within Capgemini. And what we want to talk about is how we actually want to help the automotive industry to tackle all the challenges we see in implementing SDV. What we call it is text to code, paving the road, which basically means how we easiest get from a requirement, a scribble, an idea, down to a feature being implemented into a vehicle, have it on the road in the shortest time possible using technology from AWS and our partners like ATAS. And the way we're going to do that is we're using multiple steps in that approach, which basically is a journey for the developer and all the teams. So really imagine that that's what we call it, an idea in the morning, have it deployed and ready in the evening. And it all starts with requirements. So you have an idea, you have an ideation session with your requirements teams, and you want to translate that into a consistent set of requirements. What we need for that is we need to develop end user journeys, we want to build a product, we want to actually select and prioritize requirements, and we're using GenAI and large language model to do that. So think about it, having a session where you draw on a whiteboard something like that. We have a use case, we call it the pet mode, which basically means you're leaving your pet in your car while doing a shopping tour, but you want to make sure it's safe and alive when you come back, obviously. So the pet mode gives you that, so you scribble down the requirements of the pet mode, and what you do next is you take that requirement and put it into a tool, what we call amplifier, and you put it in there together with a small text that is describing a prompt and run it. And what you want to get out of that is a list of requirements and a map of the requirements that shows you what's being implemented, as well as a table that has all the requirements in there. In addition, what you get out of that is also an analysis of the requirements that are ready to take forward in the process, that are ready to be implemented, which takes us then to the next step, which is the development of the concept. So you're now taking those requirements and putting them into the tool again and generate all the tasks you need to get that out on the road. So this is tasks for developers to implement things. This is test cases for testers that need to be tested. And this is automation scripts that you get out of the tool to get it out into the infrastructure. And that's what we then bring into what we call the iterative development. But because as a developer, I want to be as efficient as possible. I don't want to deal with lots of work documents and all of that. What you actually want to do is you put in the changed requirement, the changed or sketch on a sheet of paper, scan that, bring it in, and GenAI helps us because of the understanding technology we have to find out, okay, what's the difference? What needs to be changed? Where is the requirement ambiguous? So we have ambiguity analysis that tells us, hey, your requirements are fine, but be a bit more precise on that bit. And then you generate the necessary test cases again out of that and take that into the validation integration step. You implement your stuff, and here comes the next step. If you automate that much, you don't want to lose speed by doing something and then taking the code, go to a vehicle or find a physical test location to test your code. So what you're doing is we're virtualizing the vehicle. That's part of our SDV storyline, and having all of that available in the cloud. This gives the developer the ability to just spin off a specific virtual version of the vehicle he wants to test or code against, deploy the change and test it and be ready to use it. And in the next and more last step, then scale that. So we're using the technology then, launching 1,000 or 1,000,000 instances of a virtual car. And that's how you can see that. That's how you see, like, for example, different versions of the same ECU with a different version of the software being tested, being automated, and being executed. And that then brings us to the last step, and we operate that for you. So that saves your cost, that brings you actually into the position, what we said at the beginning when we started the journey. I have an idea in the morning and I want to be ready in the evening, get it up and running.